welcome in everybody. If you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. We got the Philly sports guy, stat guy. How's it going, guys?
Well, I am just playing Storm Tracker. There is a hurricane on the way to Tampa, and it just so happens that we're supposed to meet right at the same time.
Perfect.
A collision course of fun.
That's right. That's right.
Here I am rocking in a hurricane.
I mean, provided you get down there, that's going to be a good game.
It should be a good game. I'm interested to see. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of payback from last year, the playoff loss. I don't know that that was really Tampa's doing or our undoing, really.
Yeah.
But it is going to be a little bit of payback in that regard. And we'll see if Baker is really cooking better this year. Oh, so you froze this early. Awesome. That stupid look on your face is just so priceless right now.
And you know the best part about that is I had audio the whole time, so you can go fuck yourself.
I actually thought I froze for a second, then he said you, so I'm like, oh, then it's not me.
No, because I can see, because I saw you look up. I was like, hold on, is it me that froze?
Yeah, because I'm like,
yeah, no, it's Comcast doing Comcast things, so we got that going for us.
I was going to say the hurricane made its way all the way up to Seattle just for a quick stop.
I mean, we have some rain this morning, but not that kind of rain.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. If it goes off like on time, because I have a feeling that is it Helena might have something to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see if Baker can look the way he did last year. Right. I mean, I'm just not a Baker believer. So he's that guy that is just wildly inconsistent. And so, I don't know. We'll see. But it should be a good game overall, though. That should be a fun watch.
Yeah. I love going down to Tampa. I mean, I seem to be spending a lot of time in Tampa lately. This will be the fourth trip to Tampa in the last year, which sounds ridiculous, but just the way it's been, because I've been down there for 2 football games, going for my third, 1 spring training and 1 hockey game.
Yeah.
So lots of travel to Tampa.
So before we get super far into the NFL, the NIL has some hilarious things going on. And one of them is UNLV starting quarterback sitting the rest of the year, Matthew Sluka, who was verbally offered $100,000 NIL deal by one of the assistant coaches of UNLV to transfer from Holy Cross, has received 3,000 of it, and that's it. And despite the fact that they have started 3-0, he's like, I'm out until I get paid.
There you go. Perfect. As it should be. Don't make promises, but this is where you have to learn, get it in writing.
That's exactly it. And how shady is it for coaches to be doing stuff like this now? That is.
I got to imagine that's absolutely happening everywhere.
It's the world we live in now.
That's what I'm saying. That's the NIL is becoming an interesting animal.
It's becoming free agency for college, is what it is. Because you look at
no. It's much worse than that.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, free agency, typically the team that pays the player the most money gets that free agent. NIL, the school that wants to give the player the most money, chances are they're going to get that player in the NIL.
Well, they got him.
Get it.
Well, did you see the thing with Ohio State yesterday? Or not yesterday, but last weekend?
No, huh?
So Ohio State's starting 11 that they had on the football field last Saturday has a combined $25 million in NIL money, which is over $1 million per player that was starting that game.
Nice.
So then you take into account all the players that weren't playing. How much money did Ohio State actually shove out in the NIL this year?
Yeah.
That's why I think there needs to be some sort of a cap on how much NIL money each school gets, because basically those players that are at Ohio State right now are making more than some rookies in the NFL because they're getting paid over $1 million right now to play at Ohio State.
And here you have one guy in UNLV who was supposed to get 100,000, got $3,000, and said, "Screw you guys.
Yep.
You want to play these games? Well, now I'm going to show you how I play by not playing."
Yeah. I mean, and UNLV, let's be honest, should have the money to give him 100K.
Yeah.
I mean, that should not be difficult.
Right, because I'm sure that $3,000 is gone.
Oh, no question.
Probably took it to the casino.
I mean,
Probably not old enough.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, not even just that, but I mean, you know, if you're paying for places to live and to do things and stuff, $3,000 doesn't last very long.
Not
Certainly
even.
there.
Not in Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah, you sneeze $3,000.
Exactly.
I'm all for the player here. You know, it's like I said, these universities make ridiculous amounts of money. The fact that Ohio State probably put out, from what you just said, somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 to $60 million for their team to be able to play.
No, and
against
that's
that.
just football. That's not counting basketball and the other sports that give out the NIL money, because their wrestling program also gives out a ton of NIL money because they have one of the best wrestling programs in the nation.
Yeah, but they still can't beat Penn State.
Well, yeah, I know that, but just their Ohio State's probably easily have dished out probably over 100K or $100 million in NIL money this year. It's $60 million just from football alone.
Crazy. Well, they better win.
They come in second every year.
Yep.
Or third or fourth, depending on how they do in the college football playoff.
Exactly.
Oh, I was talking about wrestling. Wrestling, they come in second every year to Penn
Yep.
State. Because Penn State really is the best wrestling program in the country, quite possibly the world.
Those mountain boys out there.
But
Yep.
yeah, so Brad, yes, there's going to be a game. We hope.
Have they thought about possibly moving the game, kind of like what happened in 2008 when the Cubs and Astros had to get their game moved to Milwaukee because the hurricane went through Houston?
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to do that yet. So, and I can't even think about talking about Penn State versus Illinois. Yeah, I don't know anything about college. I couldn't tell you the first thing about Penn State.
Penn State's going to crush Illinois. They have a very good sophomore quarterback,
Alex,
and Illinois has not been tested yet.
So,
All
yeah,
right. Well, we might as well get into some baseball. We'll start with the teams that are actually going to be in the playoffs. And my Mariners basically guaranteed they won't.
yeah, that loss was a killer last night.
Yep.
Especially because it was that loss and then the Royals winning.
Yep.
And the Royals tried really hard to lose too.
Yes, they did.
They tried really hard and still wound up with the win. But there is a 2:00 game today, so you might be able to change your fate there in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, they almost have to win out at this point.
Correct. I agree. They actually, and they should. You guys are at home, right, for the last three?
Yes.
Yeah. So Oakland closes today. That Oakland Stadium, it closes up today. This is
Yep.
the last game in
Yep.
Oakland. Quite possibly till next year. Because from what I was told, there is no Sacramento deal yet.
No, there's not.
And there's no Vegas spot for them to play.
Nope. Yeah, no, there's Yeah,
I would love it if they had to go back and play in Oakland again.
That won't happen.
Where else they're going to go?
I mean, they have a deal to use the Sacramento River Cats Stadium next year, which is the minor league park.
But
And then if
But-
they
the problem is that they have to change that field to turf
Yep.
to be able to withstand that. So already Sacramento is probably one of the hottest parts of California.
Mhm.
So moving that to a turf field would change the temperature there. That means it's going to be about 115 to 120 degrees on the field
Yep.
during those games. The MLBPA ain't going to allow that.
No, I know. And then if they do not get a Vegas stadium done, I think they just ultimately make the move to Montreal. Because they're not going to go
Yeah.
back. They're not going to go back to Oakland. Montreal's been trying so hard to get that team back. They've already been.
Yeah, the problem is they're in the West. They can't change that.
They could. They would just move somebody from the. They would just move somebody from the East over to the West.
No way are they doing that. No way are they doing that.
Because the only team that theoretically makes sense would be St. Louis.
To go to the West.
Yeah.
But now you're talking AL and NL.
Mhm.
That's too much of a mess.
Yeah, but I mean, they're Vegas. I don't see it possible how they go back to Oakland after all this. After how they just kind of upped. I mean, the owners treated that team like shit for how long now? Like it was only
Well,
a
not
matter.
only that, I mean, did you
It's
hear him
years.
say that he tried to keep the team there and
Yeah,
all this other stuff? And then when they try to get interviews, like, oh, we still can't get an interview with him because he only does interviews when he needs money from taxpayers.
Because if
In fact,
he really
I
wanted to keep that,
have a great soundbite from that.
Perfect.
because if he really wanted to keep that team there, he would have done whatever he needed to do to get a new stadium. He would have done whatever he needed to do to remodel that stadium to keep it basically MLB standards. And the fact that he just let that stadium continue to deteriorate, he had no intention of keeping that team there a long time. So it was only a matter until they packed up and left.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get it to come up. Having some Comcast issues this morning, in case it wasn't obvious.
Oh, hold on. The look up.
Yeah, exactly.
did do that.
Come on. No, maybe not. No, maybe tomorrow.
All right. Perfect. That was a great soundbite. And that
Yeah.
soundbite was brought to you by Comcast. Oh, no, it wasn't.
Yep. In fact, it was derailed by Comcast. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate it.
Love the support.
ASSHOLE.
Exactly. Man.
So, but there were a number of teams yesterday, as you see Brad here writing out that did
Yep.
clinch. Houston winning their game clinched the West.
Yep.
They now own the West, is what they said. We own the East. I think Houston is a one and doneer this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, actually, not a one and doneer because whoever plays them in that, the Royals aren't going to beat them.
Then you have the Padres turning a triple play to clinch their playoff spot. That's a hell of a way to clinch a spot right there.
It was pretty cool.
Was it a ridiculous triple play or?
It's not.
It wasn't a ridiculous triple play, but then you look at it, the Padres can still win the NL West. I did not realize they were only 2 games behind the Dodgers. I thought they were like 4 or 5 out. But yeah, they're only 2 games out, so they still have a shot to end up winning the NL West.
Yeah, no, it was it was a pretty cool triple play just because it was a force at all 3 bags. But it's not like it was ridiculous where it was like an unassisted triple play or anything like that. Like that would have been kind of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, I didn't see it, so
Yeah,
good on them.
I just saw the highlight.
The final National League playoff spot will be decided on Sunday, though.
Against because the Mets and the Braves play each other, right?
The Mets and the Braves play each other, and the Padres and Diamondbacks play each other. and the Mets, Braves, and Diamondbacks are all separated by one game. The Mets are the 5th seed right now by one game over the Braves, who are the first team out. So those two games over the weekend, if somebody goes 3-0, they're getting in, and then whoever goes 2-1, that's the other team that gets in. So ultimately, technically the final two playoff spots will be decided on Sunday because of all the scenarios. Because the Padres can still get home or get the NL West if they sweep, but the Dodgers have the Rockies, so that's not going to happen.
Got you. Well, yeah. Interestingly enough, the Royals are no. The Royals are playing the Braves. So the Mets, who are the Mets playing? The Marlins.
I'm checking right now. The Mets are playing the Brewers. So I mean that NL is going to go, that the whole seeding in the NL is going to come down to Sunday, because the Brewers are locked in the 3 seed, obviously, because the rest of their division sucks. But that 4 through 6 seed is all going to be decided on Sunday with those matchups, because the Royals are battling for their playoff life on the other side. Then you have Arizona, who's fading, that's got to basically play like their season's on the line. The Padres have to play like they want the NL West. Like, all those playoff spots are going to be decided on Sunday. That's why that's probably going to be one of the better baseball days that we've seen in a while. And everyone says how like baseball playoffs are so much more elevated than a lot of the other like playoff series. You're going to start to see that, I think, on Sunday, when you have so much meaning behind a lot of these games all weekend.
You know, this is funny because, Brad, they've been banged up all year and they've managed to be in this spot. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule them out.
Well, they were like, they made up, I think, 4 games of the last 10 games. So I think the Braves are like 8-2 in their last 10 just because they've gotten on a hot stretch.
That's what I mean. It's not like them being banged up is new. They've been banged up all year.
And that's all it takes this time of the year, is to have one team get on a hot stretch like Arizona did last year. Arizona got on a 2-week hot stretch at the end of the year where they went 10-4 their final 14 games and got in. Literally, that's all it takes at this point of the season if you're within striking distance.
Yeah, so the Mets and the Braves actually play tonight and tomorrow.
Yep. And that's what. And then after that, you have the Mets and Brewers, and then the Braves and Royals, and Padres and Diamondbacks. Like, those 3 series are going to determine what 3 playoff teams get in and how they are seeded.
Oh, and the Dodgers have the Rockies. So
yeah, that's why I said the Dodgers are going to win the NL West, because they have the Rockies.
Yeah, and they're going to get the number 1 seed.
So.
All right, I think right now that the Dodgers won last night, I think.
I'm pretty sure. No, they lost. The Dodgers lost to the Padres last night in the triple play.
Oh, that's right. Oh, well, that actually helps.
Because, I mean, the Dodgers have 2 more with the Padres yet, so if the Padres end up winning the next 2, they're both tied heading into that final series.
Well, if that was the case, then
and you guys had your hangover game last night from celebrating, so you kind of knew that was going to happen anyways when you elected.
No doubt in my mind. I went to that game and was out in the 3rd inning.
You started Tanner Banks. When you started Tanner Banks and went from Tanner Banks to Taijuan Walker, everyone's like, "Yep, well, this is the hangover game," where they literally just showed up because they had to.
They did, and yeah, I heard some stuff. They were partying very hard the night before.
But if you're the Brewers right now, how much do you hate the situation you're in right now? Because yes, the Brewers have had a good season and probably a lot better than what people thought they would have. But being that they're locked into that 3 seed, they're either going to probably get the Padres or the Braves in that first round matchup. Those are 2 teams you don't want to see in the playoffs.
I think I'd be more comfortable seeing the Braves.
Braves, I think, were 3-1 at Miller Park, though.
Yeah, but again, just injuries, right? Like, it'll be easier to catch them on a bad day.
Just the whole playoff experience. So I think I would take my chance with the Padres over the Braves.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting for everybody watching who is traveling with me to Tampa. The flight is still going, and we're still going, and we're figuring out where we're going to stay because the hotel we're supposed to stay at is going to be closed till Friday.
Oh,
because we can't get another flight out because there ain't no other flights out. So we'll have to see how they're going to do all this. This is going to be a fun trip, I could tell.
Well, the flight will be fun anyway.
Hey, it'll be a lot of Eagles fans on their way to Tampa.
I mean, that's a bonus. It's always kind of fun when you're on an airplane, though. And like in this case, you're going to hit turbulence for sure if the flight goes, right? And if you're used to flying, you don't care. But it's always funny because you'll end up with those people that lose their shit over turbulence, and they'll immediately look out the window like you just hit a dog or something at 30,000 feet. So, I mean, you're just like, what are you looking for? I mean, you trying to see the wings flap? Like, what are we doing?
I like it when you have that turbulence that drops at about 800 feet.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's where everybody's like suspended in midair for a second. Everybody who forgot to put on their seatbelt is like, whoa.
Yeah, you get the collective gasp through the whole airplane.
You know what I can't stand, though? I can't stand when people clap after the airplane lands.
Yeah, what is that?
That is this ain't a movie. You ain't clapping for the ends.
Well, that's the thing is, why are you clapping in a movie either?
I got comment.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is
I got comments on that, but I got to keep it to myself so we don't get canceled.
I mean, that sounds like something I definitely want to hear off air, though.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it now. Let's give it a shot. You know, let's tempt fate.
People are clapping because they didn't die on the airplane.
Oh, I mean, I thought you were going to say something.
No, but like, so many damn people are sensitive nowadays. Like, you don't want to mess with like airplanes after 9/11, and that's why people clap now. And someone told me that on the plane that I was on this year. That's the main reason why people clap now is because they didn't die on an airplane. I'm like, well, kudos to you.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's not many people die on airplanes.
Yeah. So
it's a rare situation when there's a flight that goes down.
Yeah.
Especially when you think of how many fly every day, all day.
Like then it's like, so if you're clapping on an airplane, are we supposed to clap on a car ride when we get to our parking lot?
Exactly.
So that actually makes some sense because I've ridden with some people that I'm like, hey, thanks for not killing me because holy hell. So that one I could actually even kind of get behind. The movie thing is the weirdest thing. I remember the first time watching one where the movie theater clapped. I'm like, you realize there's nobody here
to take a bow.
Part of this movie.
Like, nobody's gonna come on the screen and give a bow.
Right? Like this was like one of the super old, really just crappy Cineplex Odeon just junk theaters, and it's like, yay! And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Like, even if they were gonna be in a theater, it was not this one. But
well, either way, so clapping on an airplane, no good.
Yep,
that's a foul.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
I agree. I don't go to movie theaters.
I haven't in a long time.
Yeah, every time I go to a movie theater, it's a waste of money for me because I sit in that comfortable chair, I lean back a little bit, and immediately fall asleep.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I haven't. It's probably been 5 years since I went to a movie theater, and that's
what was the last movie you seen? What was the last movie you saw? Do you remember?
In the theater?
Yep.
Not really. The last one, you know what? So I don't know. I don't think it was the last one I saw, but the last one I remember seeing was Transporter 3. Right? A buddy of mine was like, "We got to go to see this." I'm like, "It seems like it's going to be dumb. You know, it's the same movie. They've made it 3 times now. Like, I feel like I don't need to see this in the theater." And he's like, "No. Like, it'll be fun. We'll go." And I'm like, "All right, fine, cool." And so we go. And
Jason Statham does not disappoint.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, but it's the exact same movie every time, right?
Yeah. And every time.
And it doesn't even matter what the name of the movie is. If he's in it, it's the same movie every time. So
Right.
we're watching this movie, and I was like, okay, this is entertaining. It's cool, whatever. And then there's a spot in this movie that stuck out where I immediately was like, yeah, I can go home now. Like, this is stupid. Right. And it was, he's driving the car. He's got a bomb underneath it. Right. Now there's a ton of ways that you could have like scraped this thing off the car. Right. But instead he jumps the car and flips it in the air and catches the bomb on a hook of a crane to land. And I was like, yeah, it's fucking stupid. like, I mean,
No chance that he did that at all.
zero days ever does that actually work. It was like, I think it was one of the other ones. He drives his Audi through the brick wall of a parking garage. And, those walls are like this thick, so cars can't drive through them. I'm just like, come on, guys. Like, let's pretend physics exists a little bit. Like bending it a bit, I'm with. But, like, that car would have been a wrap.
Smash. It would have been smash.
Yes, done. He'd have probably died in it.
Dang, you're the exact opposite of me, because like the only movie that I ever go to see in theaters is the Fast and Furious franchise.
So it's funny because I was going to start to talk about that for a minute because every time I go over to my father's place and he watches AMC religiously, it's always a Fast and Furious that's on. And I think yesterday it was like maybe 5.
The bank heist.
No, not the bank heist. Okay, it was the train heist.
Oh yeah,
where they're
same.
getting the off the train and they lock onto the car. They cut open the train. They're driving around the same.
With the plasma
Get the
cutter.
fuck out of here!
With the plasma cutter, get the 4GT on the little drop down thing and put it in reverse and pin it.
And then he drives out of there, and then they jump on the car, and then they fly it out over into the river, and amazingly are able to get out of the car. They're able to jump out of the car and live. Amazing how that works.
I think the next one that they have slated is Fast and Furious versus Marvel. Like, it's gonna happen in space.
They've already been in space.
I know.
Yeah,
They've already been in space.
Yeah.
You jump the shark when you go into space driving.
There's two of those left, and then they are done. All right.
Yeah, they should have been done a while ago.
Well, if Paul Walker wouldn't have died, they would have been done.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because he said he wanted to run that franchise till 10.
Okay.
But then 10 ended up being too long of a movie, so they had to make it into 2 parts, which is what number 11 is going to be. And then number 12, Vin Diesel, is supposed to die, which is how the franchise is supposed to end.
I mean, it's about time because like, there's so many things they did that they all would have been dead.
Well, I don't watch the movie necessarily for like the actions of the storyline, even though the last 6 have followed the same story versus like how 4 ended is how 5 started, how 5 ended is how 6 started.
So just so I'm getting what you're throwing down here, you don't watch movies for the action or the storyline.
No, I do, but like I watch Fast and Furious for the action portion of it, not necessarily like the storyline. How like number 5 ends and that's how number 6 starts, and then how number 6 ends, that's how number 7 starts. I started watching them because of the cast that they put together. Like you have Dwayne Johnson, you had like all these good actors that have done like movies that were really good on their own. But when you got this group of actors together, they actually made a really good cast. And they all kind of vibe really well together during these movies because they all bring something different to the table. Like The Rock and Vin Diesel are kind of like the same type of actor. Then you have the comedic side of Ludacris and Tyrese, and then Paul Walker's kind of like the do everything type of actor in the franchise. They all kind of fit well together.
Yeah, it's the Expendables that just went on too long.
Kind of.
Man, Jason
Although
Statham,
when it
Statham
goes to driving movies, though, I think Gone in 60 Seconds beats them.
Yeah.
Oh, no question.
Like the Fast and the Furious, and even Tokyo Drift was kind of cool.
No, they were entertaining. No question.
but Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean, I'm a Nicolas Cage fan, so that's a little different.
Yeah.
I love the cast from there, and I love when they bring like the old guys in to kind of, you know, it just kind of cracks me up when it's you got, all them guys on there, and it's just there's a good group of actors all in one spot. So I did dig that.
It was Ocean's 11 as a car heist. you know,
Kind of.
you know.
Not really. Not different. A little bit different storyline. Save the
No.
brother type thing. Got to
Yeah.
save the brother. Not protect the friend, which was Ocean's 13.
Yeah.
Ocean's 11 actually had it. See, the problem I have with Ocean's 11 is that Brad Pitt carries the whole movie, but George Clooney is the star, and I'm not a fan of George Clooney like that because, like, he's not Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
Frank Sinatra can carry a movie like that, and that's what originally was for Ocean's 11. The
Yeah.
original Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Just like now, if they remade the movie The Dirty Dozen,
Sure.
I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, but that was amazing. I mean, they had Telly Savalas, they had Charles Bronson. It was like a monster cast there for The Dirty Dozen, which was amazing. They can't remake that now with the right 12. There's no way that they could do that.
Sure.
It can't be remade.
There's
in that
quite a
regard.
few movies that have been remade that you're like, as soon as you see the trailer for it, you're just like, you guys are messing up. Like the original was good enough. Like it was.
Beetlejuice 2 is that. I love Keaton, but I can't. I don't think that this is going to be a good movie at all.
It's not bad. It's a lot better. It's not as good as the original, obviously, because that original was really good, but it's a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
Well, and I love that Keaton became a bad guy
Mhm.
in Marvel. Like I think that he actually works as a better bad guy than a good guy, for Batman. But the last movie I saw,
I liked him as Batman, though.
he was a great Batman, but now he's too old. Because I heard he's supposed to go back to Batman again. I'm like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
I like. He was really good as the one in Spider-Man. I always forget his character, but when he was the bad guy,
that's the bad guy. Like where he was,
he
had the equipment to be able to fly and shit like that, and was stealing stuff left and right.
They're supposed to remake Jerry Maguire, but it's supposed to be more so geared around Scott Boras and just how contracts have changed in baseball.
So I feel about that.
All right.
The last movie I saw in the movie theater was Endgame.
Okay.
And that was actually a good movie to see in the movie theater that I didn't fall asleep. You know what I mean? Because there was enough kind of going on. There was enough of a storyline. I'm interested to see how they rework in what's his face back
Iron
in
Man?
now that he's dead. Yeah.
Stark.
Now that Iron Man's dead, now he's going to be Dr. Destruct or whatever the frig his name is. I don't remember. But he's back in there again, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. See, those are the movies that I like to see at the theater. Like epic action films, especially if it's a franchise like Star Wars or, the Marvel movies, stuff like that, because there is
Dr. Doom. Thank you, Frankie.
There we go. Because then there's not like basic physics that it has to adhere to. You go into it with this is a comic book or whatever, right? Whereas when it's like, things that are based on driving, it's like, okay, well, I mean, this car doesn't have a rocket in it. So like, it's not going to fly for, 3 miles and then land and be fine. Like, there's like some basic physics that you're just like, I mean, come on. When it's comic book, you're like, yeah, okay. I mean, like there's otherworldly things that are carrying this. So, you're like, okay, this works.
That's kind of like, so, I mean, I am also a really big fan of Keanu Reeves.
Sure.
And so when he did an interview one time, he said what movie they asked him what movie would he like to actually do a sequel of. Obviously, he's been in 4 Matrix, he's been in 4 John Wicks.
Yep.
And if you take the Matrix and John Wick and kind of combine them, that's what the life is like with the blue pill in comparison to the red pill. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of awesome how that works out like that.
Yep.
Because it is the same movie, just different, obviously. But Constantine was the one
Oh,
movie
yeah.
he
Classic
wished that there
Doug
was the
movie.
second one. Great movie, and I
Great.
like that universe. Like
Yes.
that universe is a good one. They are coming out with the Constantine 2, which I kind of dig because ultimately, the rumor is that he never quit smoking. So he's still smoking like he was supposed to die of cancer, and then the devil took out all the tar, and now he's going to live because he was like, as he's going up to heaven, he's like, yeah. And the devil's like, oh no, you're mine. You ain't dying yet now, asshole. So now it's like that's kind of cool to kind of I'm interested to see how that one turns out.
Yeah, I've never gotten into the Marvel movies as much as a lot of people have. Like I like the Avengers and I like Guardians, but I hate all the spin-offs. Like I hate how every single character has not only a spin-off, but 3 spin-offs. Like if you wanted
I
to do
like
just
Venom. Venom
yeah, but if
wasn't
you
bad.
like how Captain America's got like 3 spin-offs, like Thor's got like 3 spin-offs, Iron Man's got like 3 spin-offs. Like if you wanted to do a spin-off,
mean,
just
it
do
started.
one.
It started with Iron Man though. So
Yeah, I
you
know, but like
can't
just
call
do
it a
one.
spin-off if it's the one that
But
started.
you know what I mean though. Like you could have just did an Iron Man movie and not do an Iron Man 2 or an Iron Man 3. Like if you wanted to do a spin-off of each character, just do one movie and just do it. Don't keep doing like Thor and then another Thor like 6 years later, then another Thor. Like
No.
Well,
That's
no, but it's
not how money
part of the
works.
storyline though. That's still part of the storyline.
that's
Like,
why I don't. That's why the only time I'm ever gonna watch the Marvel movies is like when the Avengers actually comes out with just a straight Avengers movie, or same thing with like Guardians. I won't. I just don't have the time to watch all those stinking individual ones.
The thing that's funny is because of the timeline, they pull elements from those individual movies into those Avenger movies.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to have some basic knowledge from those for all of the movie to make sense. In fact, where they really took it to the next level is when they did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., because that also tied in.
Mm-hmm.
what I would like for them to do, it would be what happens to the people after the snap. They disappeared and then they all of a sudden reappear again. But where did they go during that time? And that would be like a really cool movie where everybody's just normal. You know what I mean? Like, we got no powers, and somebody comes over and just punches Spider-Man in the nose and he breaks his nose. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, like weird stuff like that would be kind of funny to me. Like, hey, this is what happens because Thanos took half of the universe. So you get like all these different weirdo things from all over the universe,
Yeah, so
all
the
in one spot.
snap just eliminated them altogether, though. So it died, I guess, but basically it was like they never existed.
Well, but they did exist because everybody remembered them.
Yeah, so I mean, they just ceased to exist, I guess, at that point. But
Right. But that's where I figure they would go into that quantum,
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
where they're in the quantum realm, because they, I don't know. Like I said, that's why they pay other people to write these movies.
There is that.
So, but yeah, that movie, the end game at that movie, when like when everybody started to come back, that was like a clapping moment for everybody. I'm like, we're not clapping for this, right? Like I could cheer, yeah, but like you're clapping, really? Come on. I'm not. Come on,
Not
stop
a clapper.
clapping.
Not a clapper.
Not listen. When I clap, everybody hears it. Trust me. So it's like I only clap during games. I'm not clapping at the end. I'll clap at the end of a performance, actual performance on stage.
Well, of course. No, so like if you know you're going to be in there with a group of clappers, like if they did it during the movie, because sometimes that happens too. When he snapped the finger and everybody dies, that's where you like slow clap. Because ain't nobody excited in that theater. So it would have been silence, just like, let's go.
Yeah, people are crying and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, just like at the end, when everybody's all depressed, they're like all clapping for that. And at the end of that movie, they're all depressed because Man's dead.
Got clapper lights. So mine is extra fancy there. When I set mine up so I can talk to my house to turn on all the lights and individually and dim them, and
you get that what's that, the lights, the light that goes by voice activation. I think about that one it was on Instagram or whatever,
I got
where the guy's like cooking and the light would go out and you go woohoo, and the light come back on.
That's funny.
The wife got a voice activated lights because
That's
she
awesome.
wanted to save some money because it was on discount.
See, that's kind of why I did it, is to save some money, because inevitably, we'd climb in bed and then my wife would be like, "Did you lock the front door?" And one, I do it like without thinking about it, so I'm not going to remember, because it was just sort of I walked by it and I locked it or whatever. And then, lights are on all over the place. And instead of running around the house and turning stuff off, I made it so that I can talk to the house and just be like, "Hey, lock the front door." And I can hear it go zzz, and then I can be like, "Lights off," and it'll kill every light in the house if I want.
Awesome. That's cool. See,
yeah,
I wish.
So I don't have to get out of bed because she waited for me to climb in bed to ask me that question.
So you should just be like, "No, honey, why don't you go lock it?"
Before you get there, you're like, "Lock the door," so it locks as she walks up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how I die.
Yeah, I get it. Which brings us to True Fusion Gym. If you want your wife to kick your ass, that's the way to do it.
This is where she trains. And you can use that QR code to join her. Free 5-day pass. Pilates, boot camp, yoga, and actually, not lying, she is one of the fitness managers there. So find your edge at True Fusion Gym. And of course, you can bet right alongside us here at Coast to Coast. If you use the QR code on the screen, get up to 125% of your initial deposit, up to 3 of those, and there is a 10% bet guarantee if you are bad at betting. And, help protect some of your bets a little bit. Again, the QR code on the screen lets you bet right alongside us here at Coast to Coast. All right. So to wrap up today, we have these gems. Who do you think gets fired first?
Wow.
Doug Peterson.
The way that the Jags are playing, you might be right. Especially because I think McCarthy lives through the season regardless.
Well, that's the main reason why I would take McCarthy and Matt Eberflus off this list is the Bears have never fired a coach midseason.
And he's in the last year of his deal anyway.
He's got one more yet. He's on a 4-year deal. He's on a 4-year.
I thought this was the last one.
No, he's on a 4-year deal. But the Bears have never fired a coach mid-season, and I don't see a scenario where they do that just because that's not how the McCaskies operate. They don't like paying multiple coaches as it is, so he makes it through regardless. And I think the same thing with McCarthy. I think Jerry Jones just holds on to him for the year and then gets rid of him.
Well, so McCarthy is interesting because I think for the most part that's true, unless they just really fall off a cliff.
Well, yeah.
Because then they do have Zimmer in the house.
Like the next 5 games, are we talking? If you look at the Cowboys' next 5 games?
No. That's what I'm saying. Like if they just fall off a cliff, then I could see him getting fired since he's done at the end of the year anyway. Yeah. And they're already playing Zimmer, who's on the staff.
Yeah, and the Cowboys' next 5 games, they have the 49ers, the Lions, the Texans mixed in there. Like, it's not an easy 5-game stretch.
No, for sure. And if they come out of that with a losing record, not overall, I mean just during that stretch, I think there's a real shot that they could move on. If he's 500 through that, then, they probably ride this thing out. But if he, during that stretch, wins 1 game or somehow goes winless, I could see them swapping over to Zimmer.
And I think Stefanski will be safe just because Nick Chubb is not playing.
I think Stefanski is the safest of this
Just
group.
because having Nick Chubb takes a lot of the pressure off of Deshaun Watson, and you don't need Watson to go out there and try to beat teams then when Nick Chubb is there. Now, if Chubb comes back and Cleveland still struggles, then I would have his seat being a little warmer than what it is now. But I would say out of this list, Doug Peterson is probably the most likely to get fired, especially when you look at how bad Jacksonville looked on Monday.
Yeah, again, I'm not worried about Stefanski getting fired here. I think there will really be a big deal if this video that is coming to the NFL this week is as damning as they've tried to make it sound.
Oh, with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah.
Well,
And
then his job is definitely safe.
that's what I mean, right? Doug
What's
Peterson
the
on
matter?
the other
What
hand,
happened with Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson's got another 10 accusations for more stuff that he's done, and there's actually video of 3 of the accusations. So
Current.
that's the
current. Yeah, new
New ones after he got caught the first time. There's 10 more accusations that have been added to his name, and 3 of the 10 accusers say they have video that they've sent to the NFL.
That would give Cleveland the biggest friggin' pass of their lives.
There's no question, because
That's why
the detrimental to the team thing, they get to void his contract.
That's why Stefanski, I think, is the safest on this list, because he's had to go through so much shit with Deshaun Watson the last 3 years that this would just be icing on the cake. This would be, well, you're gone. Your contract's gone. We got to go with Jameis Winston the rest of the way like that. It gives Stefanski the easiest out to just be safe just because of all the shit he's had to go through.
Well, and the thing is
Yeah,
at the
but
same
so time out there before you say that. Why isn't he in control of his players? That's what I have to say.
So these accusations were from the same timeline as the first ones. So these are
before he got to Cleveland. This is still like the Houston timeline.
Oh, no. Yeah, I thought this was in Cleveland.
No, this is the Houston timeline. It's 10 additional people that didn't come forth initially when the initial accusations came out, but 3 of these 10 women actually have video evidence of it happening.
And they're supposed to meet with the league this week.
There's tomorrow, actually.
Oh, okay, tomorrow. Yeah, I knew it was sometime before the end of the week.
Yep.
So, and again, as we've seen through the years with the NFL, they don't care until they see video.
Yeah.
And if they have video, that could be it. And of course, the way that the Browns wrote their contract with Deshaun is they conceded the ones that were already there, but there's some exclusions about new ones, which now there are. And then that would fall into the detrimental to the team action. And so then, they could void the rest and move on, which is probably, obviously best case scenario for them, because Deshaun has not shown up at all. I think he's had really 2 good games since he got there. And other than that, it's either been average or below average. I mean, Flacco off the couch was playing better than Deshaun. Mm-hmm. So, this could be the biggest boost for the Browns. Again, this is Stefanski, I think, is the safest here. Peterson, because the Jags just look like they forgot how to play football in general. He's probably the one that gets the early exit.
I don't know if it's early. I think that switching quarterbacks, if the backup quarterback actually can act like a real quarterback, because I'm hearing some things.
You think they're gonna bench him?
Because I'm hearing some things that he's going against play calling.
Yeah.
Really?
That Joey's going off script. I heard some very interesting stuff. About the Eagles actually too.
Okay.
That fourth down call, that 4th and 4, there was a play call made, and they were supposed to take a delay of game. Like try to pull him offside and not snap.
Okay.
Now, they're not sure if he got the call or heard the call because the mic went out. So they called the play, and that he said that they wanted to take the 5-yard penalty
Mhm.
and then kick the field goal. That's what I heard from, you know, you know, people and sources.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's real, what's not.
Sure.
And that's. Uh, but I also hear that Nick Sirianni is taking major bullets right now for Jalen Hurts.
Hmm.
That Jalen Hurts is also doing some of his own play calling,
Hmm.
and that this started last year and has continued some this year.
I mean, that's a problem, especially if it coordinates with the, you know, falling apart down the stretch, kind of a rough start to the season so far. Like if he,
You can't say it's a rough start. I mean, I understand that we're talking about it as a rough, but it's 2-1. So
no, so yes. So in the win column, yes. As far as watching the play, it's been a little rough.
yeah,
Is
well,
what
I mean, it's if the defense plays like the defense played, then I think that we'll start to win a lot more games. If the
Sure.
defense continues to improve, I mean, like I said, you had 94 points scored by that team, and then they only got 12. And I understand that their best offensive line was hurt, but even still, to only have to give up Kamara like 70 yards for Kamara, 43 and 3/4, and they didn't get away from the run. They continued going to the run.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 17 attempts for 43 yards.
No.
I mean,
The defense
that's
was good.
amazing. So they got to be able to keep it like that. But I'm interested to see or hear how this continues. But if it's Nick taking the heat away from his quarterback, that's a whole different storyline. And the players seem to have Nick's back. Dallas Goddard said it on I guess what's his face's show, Pat McAfee's. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
we love Nick, and he's the same guy. He's every day, and he took the shot. He said it's himself in the press conference. When we go for it on a 4th and 4 and we don't make it, that's 100% on me. Now, if that wasn't the call, and he's saying it's 100% on him, that's a big bullet to take.
No doubt.
So
This,
yeah, I just saw that. That's a bummer. That's a
that
bummer.
is a bummer. That'd be a big loss for them.
Yeah, especially with they got Dallas. No, the Dallas is going to play in the Giants this week, but there was a good game in the 49. Like the Cardinals are playing somebody worthwhile.
Yeah, who do they have this week? Let's see what we got. Let's see. Just because I don't remember offhand.
Yeah, and I'm not looking.
They have Washington.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested to see that game, because obviously Washington has gone 2 weeks without punting.
Yeah.
Like that's significant a little bit.
And we got the game of the week on Monday night too.
Which one? There's 2 games.
The one,
Is there
the
games
Dolphins
on Monday night again.
The Dolphins and Titans. That game might be all punts. Maybe a touchdown or a field goal here and there. That game might be all punts.
That'll be the game of the week because it'll be hot trash for prime time.
Shit.
But yeah,
the other game,
the Hawks and the Lions.
Seahawks and Lions are the later one on Monday.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
Okay.
The Lions will crush the Seahawks. I'm sorry.
I mean, the Lions struggle with the Seahawks in general.
In Seattle.
No, even in Detroit.
Yeah, I think Seattle won like 40-32 last year in Detroit or something like that. It was a.
You know what? I guess you're right about that, because it seems like 2 years ago Detroit missed the playoffs by 1 point against Seattle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
It was 40-39.
Yeah, and
I remember that game.
Detroit. And, there's now, don't get me wrong. I actually think that the Lions probably do get this win. But, Seattle also has the best winning percentage on Monday night for the entire league. So, I mean, there's just like little things that history wise lean towards the Seahawks on the road here. The Lions are, I think, a 4-point favorite, though.
I see if it was 5 points, I would then say Seattle.
Yeah.
There's something about that 5-point spread that says underdog every time.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've mentioned this before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I think it should be a fun game only because these two teams play each other very well. Historically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. And I'm also looking forward to rocking through Tampa tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
And who are we talking to tomorrow?
Connor Noland. He is one of the Cubs' top pitching prospects, and he's, I believe, number 22 overall in their system. He's coming off of a breakout season this year that got him all the way up to AAA.
Sweet.
Well, he went from single to triple.
He was in the high A to start the year, so the higher level of single A, and then within 2 starts, he was in double A, and then he finished in triple A, ended up going, I think, 12-4 or 12-5 for the year.
Got ya. Nice.
Sweet.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I will not be in the air and I could ask some questions.
Absolutely. And that gets us to the top of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps us bring our stuff to you. If you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour for the Wednesday wrap up. And of course, tune in tomorrow for our guest. Take it easy, everybody.
Let's go.
Later.